What's going on, everybody? Doing a series of videos here. We just finished up 6th summer 2023, unloading the truck and trailer and everything right now, so figured I would do a video, try to help people. I'm gonna show what we packed, critical items, go over what we used on a daily basis, go over the things that we really didn't use, maybe wouldn't pack in the future, and you know, give you guys an idea of what all we brought with us. Overall, we were able to make it between the 5 different track days. Only thing we bought was some oil at a Napa, kind of in the middle of nowhere. We did an oil change in the parking lot, and then we bought a fuel jug, and I'll kind of go over that with you guys. But overall, everything that you see here is basically what we lived with. We did a combination of camping and also hotel nights, so that kind of complicated things in some ways but made life easier in other ways, which I could touch on for you guys. So let's dive in here. First thing I'll go over is tools. You know, I wasn't planning on rebuilding the engine or doing anything crazy, so I had a small little Stanley toolkit. Had a 1/4 inch and 3/8 drive, socket set, both metric and standard. Below it is a little bit bigger Craftsman one that had 1/2 inch. It's over there, but we also had a 1/2 inch torque wrench for the wheels. In this box here was more or less just miscellaneous stuff. In here we had like screwdrivers, a hammer, pliers, just all sorts of miscellaneous stuff, some Allen wrenches, tape. We didn't dive too much into that. One critical item I would say that we had is some tin snips. We had a little bit of a scare, had to do an oil change in a parking lot, and you know, we wanted to cut open the oil filter, make sure that nothing was in there. I don't have a oil filter tool, so this got the job done. Definitely worked. It was nice to have the reassurance that there was no bottom end damage or anything going on with the car. A lot of the stuff in here we didn't use, but it's kind of hand tools, you know, that might be useful. This laser thermometer, this was something that I brought. We were having some issues with a rear brake caliper before we left, and I figured that'd be something that would be good to have just to make sure that everything, you know, checked out okay as far as temperatures. That could be used for exhaust manifold, oil pan, brakes, really anything there. So moving forward, jack stands and jack, that's pretty straightforward. Use those every single day. Critical items, definitely would recommend an aluminum jack. I have a steel one that I use at home. I think that weighs 78 pounds. This one was about half the weight. They do have smaller ones by Harbor Freight, which has got a single front wheel. Personally, I'm not a fan of those, but they are even lighter than this, so obviously you got to think ahead. There's a fire extinguisher in the car, but I also had a large fire extinguisher that was in the trailer. You never know what could happen. Just wanted to be prepared on that level. Moving over here, I had a whole pile of rigid tools. This is a variety of stuff. We have this is an air pump. We have a driver set that was used taking the wheels on and off. We had a drill, some flashlights, and then in this bag basically we had our batteries, our chargers. One of the MVPs of the week is going to be this guy here. Essentially this is just a USB adapter for a drill. This was particularly useful when we didn't have power or access to our generator, which I have. I'll show you in a minute here. This was good. We did one of the days was over 200 miles of driving, so that was to add an extra basically power source for our cell phones. We also had like critical items. That's what this pile is here. If we were a little more prepared, we would have probably put a kit together, but essentially this stuff would go under our seat every day when we would travel. Obviously tire pressure is critical. We had this T-handle here. This was used to take the cable lock off of our parachute mount with the Motion Raceworks parachute. They have a really fancy support there for the cable, but unfortunately every day we had to take it off and put it back on. So that was what we had there. I was using adjustable wrenches for a lot of that stuff because obviously it's more universal. Snips here. This was used for our cable ties. I will say we used probably 10 to 20 cable ties a day, so obviously pack plenty there. Torque wrench. Here we have, this should be a 15/16 socket. This is what we used for the wheels. 3/4 inch socket and a 3/4 inch wrench was for the parachute. This right here is the mount that we have. So every day we would have to basically take this on, or put this on and take it off, swapping the parachute. And then the last one that we had here is 13/16. That was used just to double check, I believe, the torque on the front wheels. So I have a whole separate video on this tow hitch setup, but just if you're unfamiliar, real quickly, basically we used our Motion Raceworks parachute bar and made this hitch adapter. It worked in our case. Our trailer was fairly light. There was a lot of debate whether something like that would work or not. We were successful. Use your own judgment, but it worked. As far as supporting the trailer for the safety chains, I got 2 of these straps. I think it was somewhere around 10,000 pounds of braking force. So we had 2 of them, and basically they would get crisscrossed, and then I would zip tie the ends together, and then I would put the safety chains on like that. Our trailer, if I had to guess, was about 500 pounds. So definitely plenty of margin there, but that was kind of how we would get around from our day to day. So going into our spare parts, I took these tackle kits for fishing and basically made separate kits for different types of items. We'll go through them real quick here. This one is somewhat of our like catch-all. We have 10 spark plugs, an extra trailer adapter wire harness. This is just a fused wire harness with a connector, relay, spark plug wires. I think there's some push rods here, some lifters. We also had extra trailer lights just in case we needed them. Moving to the next one. This one is more or less like our electrical and gaskets. So hairspray for couplers, JB weld, spark plug, gapping tool, socket, anti-seize, RTVs, copper RTV. We actually did use this for a exhaust manifold gasket change in the middle of the night. Gray RTV, black RTV, Loctite. This is just some bulbs, relays. I did have a spare O2 sensor. We're running a Holley Dominator here. And then I also have locking rings and some headlight bulbs. This one is like our electrical and miscellaneous. So we got relays, we have electrical plugs, fuses, battery tools, terminal strips, gaskets. You know, we have things from barbs for hoses, extra turn signal bulbs, sensors. So this is a low dollar, I think 100 psi. We have an extra button here. This could be used for trans brake or line lock, stuff like that. These are all just critical items that could potentially fail, that are easy to swap. And then the last kit here, this one is more of like a mechanical one, I would say. We have some intake manifold gaskets. I run a Dominator on the car with a boost controller setup, but I did have some springs in there just in case for some reason we had to put wastegate springs in there higher that I have. Miscellaneous locking tabs, extra pins. This is our plug for our transmission dipstick, torque converter adapter, and then obviously just some nuts and bolts. This was kind of like a catch-all for if anything mechanically goes wrong. And then moving on to the last of the spare parts, this was just kind of something I had in the garage, some old exhaust manifold gaskets. We did actually have a brand new one in there which we had to swap out. We did blow out an exhaust manifold gasket, I think on day 2 or 3-ish. So we ended up putting a new MLS gasket in and copper RTV'd it, and it was good the rest of the week. We actually thought we had some sort of a lifter tick or valve train noise, but luckily it was just that. In this box we have a bunch of T-bolt clamps, V-band exhaust clamps. We got everything for radiator stuff, full set of coils, starter, and then like I mentioned, we had some issues with the brakes the day before we left. So I actually have a spare pair of aerospace calipers, so one of those came along for the ride. Luckily we didn't need any of these parts, but the logic between our spare parts was basically anything that might be fairly easy to swap out we were willing to do, but if we had any sort of like bottom end noise or anything catastrophic, you know, we would just kind of call it a week and continue on just as spectators. So moving forward here, some more trailer items. I had this shitty Igloo cooler. It got the job done, but definitely could have used maybe like a knockoff Yeti, or a Yeti would have been obviously fine, but heavier. I did bring 2 different Yeti cups, one with a lid, one with a straw. Those obviously held ice really well, and kept us good through the week. Most tracks had bags of ice, so that wasn't a big concern. One of the things that we debated on was bringing a generator. I have this Wen generator that I bought off Amazon. Nice thing with this one is it's got 12-volt cigarette plug, there's USBs, there's AC outlets, and the nicest thing is it's got an eco mode, which actually reduces the sound by about half. This is an inverter generator, so it's pretty light, it's pretty quiet. I'll put a link in the description if you guys are interested. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was significantly cheaper than, say, like your Honda and other comparable models. As far as fluids, we started with 2 gas cans. We ended up with 3. What we quickly learned is that you should at least have 1 spare open gas can in the event that you have to drain fluid or whatever. Or if you want to, like we had a 200-mile drive the one day, so we loaded up and we were able to make the drive without going to gas stations. Brake clean, oil. We did an oil change in a parking lot when we were having that noise that ended up being the exhaust gasket. We weren't sure if it was some sort of valve train noise, so we drained the oil, we cut open the filter, everything looked good. So basically put some fresh in and we continued on our journey. Moving forward, obviously we have our street wheels. These are hand-cooked tires. I got them off Amazon. Definitely put a link in the description. I was kind of back and forth on what I wanted to do. These were cheap, road noise was minimal, I had no complaints. We put about, I don't know, 600 miles on them, and tread wear is great. They were fine for doing little burnouts and stuff. Everybody likes that. On top of here, I didn't use it personally, but my friend Mike Pryka, his dad is using a Holley Terminator setup, so I let them take my old O2 sensor and ECU just as a spare. So not most people have access to that, but definitely would be nice to have in case you have any issues. We had spares for the trailer tires. Obviously, you have a blowout, you don't want to get stuck. We brought a pack of microfibers and some cleaner. That was a game changer. So when we did the driving portion, the car would just get covered in bugs and crap. So, we don't have the ability to wash the cars during the event. So that was, kind of a catch-all for things. We also brought a battery-powered fan. That could be used for us. It also could be used, between rounds to cool things down on the car. We try to keep organized, so we use these tubs. I think the big ones are from Costco, the little ones are from Home Depot. In this tub, I would say that almost everything in here we didn't use. We had a soldering iron, this is a battery charger. I have onboard air, so we brought air hose in case we needed to fill batteries. Power inverter, we had battery terminals, heat shrink, Deutsch connectors, wire. Luckily, we didn't have to go in this box at all. Over here is just tents, air mattresses. 2 things that were really key as far as creature comforts. We ended up buying dude wipes. I've never used these before, but when you're sitting out and sweating, it's really nice to be able to wipe your face, wipe your ass, whatever you want to do. Definitely nice compared to just using like a paper towel to wipe the sweat off your eyes and stuff like that. This is something I picked off Amazon. So my car's got an 850 cage in it, and running E85 I have to wear a 15-layer suit, which gets hot. This is actually a rechargeable stroller fan, which just clamps to the cage there. It's got 3 different settings. I just put it on the cage and literally blow it right on my face while I'm sitting and staging. I'll put a link in my comments if you guys are interested. I think it was maybe $10 or $15. It's rechargeable, it worked all week, and it was a godsend. So moving back though, looking at all this, there's a lot of crap that we brought. I didn't really talk about it, but we brought some tarps and moving blankets to lay on the ground. Bring plenty of ratchet straps. We had a chair, actually 2 chairs, but one of them is already back home. Packing, I would say stay organized. Some of the stuff that I wish that we brought that we didn't, I'd say a better cooler was definitely one of them. The one that we brought really didn't hold ice very well, so that was kind of an issue. Some of the stuff that I probably wouldn't bring again, be some of like the larger items that really weren't needed per se. We brought way too many hand tools as far as like you know, like pliers and things like that, which you don't typically use when you're working on a car. We had a bunch of locks, which actually ended up becoming very useful as time went on. Like I said, we stayed in a hotel some nights, but other days we were camping. So, you know, when we were in the camp, you know, the camping area of the racetracks, the generator was very useful. But then when we were in the hotels, you know, we would recharge all our batteries and everything like that. Depending on your trailer and your setup, you know, this is a turbo car, so a lot of different things that could go wrong. So, you know, I feel like we packed very good. Some stuff probably unnecessary. You know, if you have, say, a small block setup, you might need some things that we didn't bring. But overall, this is what we lived out of for a week, and you know, thankfully we didn't have any sort of catastrophic events. But you know, as far as tools and stuff like that, you know, we were good to go. So this is just a quick overview of what we brought. You know, hopefully if this is your first drag and drive, or you're just looking to see what other people have done, you know, you learn a little bit. We kind of just swung for the stars, and you know, luckily we were good with that. But looking to maybe do some more in the future. We got some improvements to the trailer to be done. We found that our fuel system needs to be maybe a little bit bigger for the new motor combo. And you know, overall though, we ran a 9.0 average at all the track days. So very grateful that it made us go, you know, we were able to go the whole way without any sort of breakdowns. And yeah, so that was our sixth summer. As far as our stuff that we packed, hopefully, you know, if you're looking to get some idea of what to bring, this is helpful. If you have any questions, you know, make sure to ask. If you want to see any more videos, hit that subscribe button, and I appreciate y'all. Thank you.